to strengthen their ideologies, critical thinking skills, and most importantly, their political beliefs. However, more and more people are being denied the opportunity to present based off of controversial political views on important matters. Now, the growth in the sheer quantity of protests against not just political opinions, but against the presence of the speakers who hold them is jarring, to say the least. The Freedom for Individual Rights and Education Foundation keeps a database of large-scale attempts to have speakers disinvited for their political beliefs. It records that in the year 2000, there were 6 attempts to have speakers disinvited for political beliefs. However, in the year 2017, there were 36. This represents a 600% increase in the sheer quantity. That represents more than just a coincidence. It's a real and growing trend, and it bears discussing whether or not it's something we want to continue. Perhaps the only thing more startling than that is the rate of success at which people succeed in this. So in the year 2000, of those 6 attempts, 1 succeeded. 1 person was disinvited. In the year 2017, however, 17 of these people were disinvited. Again, this success rate goes from 16.6% to 47.2%. Almost half of the people who we attempt to get disinvited are successfully disinvited. And these are often for controversial, though not always rare, political opinions on important issues, such as the Israel-Palestine conflict. I don't think that anyone should be disinvited for their opinion on the Israel-Palestine conflict unless their opinion is literally that we should just blow them both up. Unless it's something approaching that level of ridiculousness, we need to talk about this. It's a serious problem, and there are 2 sides to it. Again, and also, this does serious and potentially irreparable damage to our political discourse as a nation. This is really concerning because if we teach students that that the way to deal with political opinions they disagree with is to simply yell louder or tell the other side to shut up, that's what they're going to take into the world, and that's how they're going to try and affect change, and it's simply not effective. And as corny as it is to say, students are our future, and so if we teach them to do things this way, that's exactly how they're going to go about it in the real world. Also, addressing political opinions that you don't necessarily agree with is helpful to yourself. It helps you challenge your beliefs, and that's one of the only ways through which you can really fundamentally assess why you think what you think. So if nobody external to yourself ever says, hey, I think you're wrong about this, you're never really forced to think, oh, I might be wrong about this. Let me think about why I'm not. And if you don't think about those things, you're never going to really understand your own beliefs. Another thing is that this very often happens at public schools. And that means that somewhere in a room, there is a government employee making a decision about what political belief is acceptable to have on the campus. And that is a really dangerous line to draw, especially for a government employee. I don't think it's right even for private educators to be doing this, but for a government employee to be deciding what political beliefs are appropriate on a school campus should not be something that we as Americans are comfortable with under any circumstances. So there are a number of potential solutions to this, a number of them motivated by universities. These are worth talking about even here, I think, because we can petition universities to take these actions and we can help motivate them to do it. So one action that a university could take is that it could introduce something along the lines of switch-side platforming. By this I mean that they could introduce, at the same time or at similar times, opposing speakers on the same issue. So if you bring in someone to speak on the conservative side of something, like immigration, then you would bring in someone either at the same time or within a small enough window that people remember to speak on the left-hand side of that issue. This makes sure that students have access to informed, well-articulated beliefs on both sides of any topic. Also, universities could help schedule student forums on issues that recent divisive speakers have talked about so that students can challenge each other in a mediated, neutral environment. This is really important because it allows students to confront each other and not just people who are perhaps more educated or more accustomed to speaking on this topic. The final thing that universities can do is simply not to disinvite people when there are rallies and protests against them. This can be dangerous because some people think that rallies can grow into larger scale things and they can become violent. So to some extent I understand it, but I think it's not worth rewarding that sort of behavior and creating that sort of culture. I think universities should just generally have policies against disinviting people unless it's for something like criminal behavior or something serious in that nature. So students also have to be part of the solution though. So some of it is just going to have to change student behavior. Students have to stop trying to make the whole world into a place where they never have to defend their opinions, because ultimately when they leave college, they're going to be confronted with the fact that no matter what political belief you hold, approximately half of the country disagrees with you on any given day. That's just going to be the truth, and that's something we're going to have to deal with when we go out into the world. And if you do stuff like this, then you're just not going to be prepared for it. Another benefit to this is that it can help increase political participation, because studies show that people who are exposed to more political rhetoric and who are more involved in, will become more involved in politics at the local, state, and federal level by either voting or just or volunteering at campaigns and polls. Another benefit to this is that, again, it helps you better understand the counter-arguments to the things that you are saying, which in turn helps you understand your own beliefs more, which I believe is really important. And experiencing new things helps us grow. Now, for some reason, a lot of people want to pigeonhole this into things like ziplining and traveling to foreign countries, but it absolutely doesn't stop there. Experiencing new and often uncomfortable political beliefs forces you to assess them in your own mind and help you form more complete versions of your own beliefs and what you think about the world, making you a more mature person. Now, my proposal is by no means flawless, so there are several counterarguments that I would like to address. So the first is that protests and petitions are just as much an expression of political speech as the speakers that they are seeking to deplatform. I happen to agree with this. That's true. That's absolutely 100% correct. They are political speech, and they should be protected. We should have petitions, and we should have protests. Where I differ is that you should be protesting and petitioning against the content of what someone says, the substance of their argument. You should be making a well-reasoned thesis against what they say rather than just their presence and the fact that they are saying it, because that is always more compelling. If you think someone is wrong and you tell someone why they are wrong, then they will always be more persuaded than if you just tell them not to talk. That's just always going to be true from my point of view. Another counterargument would be that we as a society have a moral obligation to prevent the spread of ideologies that that indirectly or directly advocate for violence against one or more subsections of the population. Again, I think this is true. This is a good thing. We do have that moral obligation. We should absolutely do this. I again disagree on how we should do it. I don't think that deplatforming people or saying that they can't speak is an effective means of preventing the spread of this ideology. My example for this would be people like Richard Spencer, who espouse what I believe is a very dangerous rhetoric. I think that he is powerfully wrong on a lot of issues, and that it is really dangerous to think a lot of the things he does. However, he has built his platform off of the idea that the PC culture is trying to shut him up. And the more we do it, the more credible he looks. The more it looks like there is some sort of a conspiracy against what he is saying and against the ideas he espouses. And it looks more and more to people who are his fans and also to people sitting in the middle watching. It looks more and more like that is what we are trying to do, and that is what people will take away from it. So finally, I'm going to end by telling you what sort of actions you can take. So the first thing would be to petition universities that you attend, or that you are near, or that people you know attend, just generally. You can petition them to take the actions I talked about earlier. So student forums, switch-side platforming. These things are really important, and they can be super helpful. But really, simply the best solution for you to take, the best action you can take, is just to engage in political rhetoric. If you find someone in the world who disagrees with you, talk to them about it. Don't just walk away. Don't sigh or laugh or dismiss their ideas as ridiculous. Think about them and interact with them, because that is the best way for you to change the culture, is if we just all do that a little more.